In the Line of Duty, Blaze of Glory is a really interesting film, and not the film I thought it was going to be, which is not a criticism, it's purely an observation. I watched this because of Loughlin. And I assumed going into it that Loughlin would play some kind of detective. That's not the case. She's actually on the other side of the crime, and I thought this was really, really interesting. This was released in 1997. It's directed by Dick Lowry, and it's written by Susan Rhinehart and Stephen Harrigan, with a cast including, of course, Loughlin, Bruce Campbell, Brad Sullivan, Susanna Thompson, and various others. And Loughlin and Bruce Campbell played Jill and Jeff Erickson. And I don't know if I'd heard of them before. The name kind of sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm just going to say I knew nothing about them because it's based on the true story of Jill and Jeffrey Erickson, who committed a whole host of bank robberies and crimes, and I just wasn't expecting Loughlin to be in that role. I thought she'd be on the other side of the crime, fighting the crime. So that in itself was really interesting, and we do spend a decent amount of time with Jill and Jeffrey Erickson, obviously because we know who is committing the crime basically from the beginning. It's very different to a mystery where we're trying to unravel the crime and find out who's doing it. So I think that approach was really fascinating, and I think it has a really nice balance between those characters and the other side with the investigation. I think they did a really good job of telling the story. All of that being said, I don't know how accurate it is to the true individuals, to the true crimes. I don't know if it's just inspired by and using their names. I have no idea. As I said, I kind of feel like the name sounded familiar, but I'm just going to say I know nothing or knew nothing about them. But if you have any thoughts on that, on how it compares, in particular, does it feel like an accurate portrayal of those characters and their stories? I'd love to know what you think. Judging it purely as a film on its own, as a piece of entertainment, it is entertaining. The story works well, it's interesting, the balance is really good. I'd say it's pretty engaging throughout. Maybe the pacing's a little slow here and there, but for the most part I did find it to be really fascinating, with some very well written characters and great performances. Again, I don't know how accurate the characters are, but judging it purely as a film, I thought the characters were very well handled. Lots of action, definitely for the most part an engaging, interesting story. Really good lighting, some interesting, decent camera work, some good music. All of the boxes are ticked. As I said, going into it, it's not the film I thought it was going to be, but it ended up being, in a way, so much more interesting. I'd love to know what you think of it. If I ever come across those names again, which I'm sure I will, I consume a ridiculous amount of true crime, which is why I'm surprised I'm not more familiar with those names, but maybe I'm just not reading the right true crime. Either way, if I come across those names again, I will certainly pay attention. And if you haven't seen this film, and it sounds like a film for you, I'd say In the Line of Duty, Blades of Glory is definitely worth watching.